What is going on, guys? This is Richie here from the Red Planet Films, bringing you yet another movie review, and this time it is for Ouija, Origin of Evil, which I had really zero expectations for. Not to cut myself off, but if you're wondering what this big monstrosity is right here, this is a Blue Yeti microphone. My great friend Jesus, you can find the link to his YouTube channel in the description box down below, graciously lent me this beautiful item here to test it out. So I am testing it out, and if you guys like the way that it sounds, please let me know, and I will continue to do videos with this thing in the future. Moving right along, as I just made mention, I had zero expectations for this film whatsoever. The first film was pretty much bashed by every critic and their mother. However, it did do very well in the money department. Therefore, a sequel was greenlit, and when I heard about that, I just, oh great. Another cash grab, old run-of-the-mill type film, you know what I mean? That's technically pretty much what horror movies, unfortunately, now are all about. I remember seeing the trailer a couple of months back and just thinking to myself, wow, that looks really bad. And so, ironically enough, it wasn't until this morning I went on Rotten Tomatoes for some odd reason, just to kill some time, and I saw that it had an 81% rating. And I thought to myself, that has to be false. Clearly there was some sort of typo. Something was, I don't know, amiss. So I clicked on it just to check, the critics' consensus, and it was giving it high praise. So just thinking to myself, like, what kind of world are we living in here? So I sent a picture to my friend, and he even questioned it. He was like, what and how? And I was like, I don't know. So he was like, hey, do you want to go catch it just, for a good laugh? So I said, sure. So we actually just got back from seeing it not too long ago. And when I went into this film, rather than me just being under the notion that I wanted to hate it, I said to myself, you know what? Let me just clear my head, go in with an empty mind, see what the movie has to offer, and then I'll formulate an opinion there afterwards. So, as we go in, it was a pretty packed theater. There was a bit of a buzz, a couple of people talking here and there or whatever. So I can immediately tell it was kind of gonna be one of those audiences where they react or kind of just like talk along with it and stuff like that. So overall, I hate to admit, but I actually liked this film. So the film is directed by Mike Flanagan, and if you're not aware of him, and I didn't even know that he directed this film, he directed a very great film a couple of years ago called Oculus, which actually stars one of the actresses from that film, and he directed another kind of under-the-radar type horror film called Hush, which I did do a movie review on that as well. Right off the bat, it had some very interesting camera work. The cinematography looked pretty nice, just the way that the movie looked really good, and some of the direction was pretty good. So it was definitely I'm assuming, I haven't even seen the first Ouija movie. I had no interest. I have no interest. So I'm assuming that it was definitely a step in the right direction. Get it? Director, direction. Haha. Funny. Pun. So the movie stars Annalise Bazo, as I just mentioned. Hopefully I pronounced her name correctly, from Oculus. And Henry Thomas, who, if you're not familiar with him, go and watch E.T. Completely different looking person now. Elizabeth Reeser, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly as well, she plays the mother in this film, and for those of you who have seen these movies, she played Esme Cullen in the Twilight films. I haven't seen them. Don't ask me how I know that. That's all I'll say. I guess she's a new up-and-coming sort of actress. Her name is Lulu Wilson. She played Doris in this film, and she was absolutely incredible. I enjoyed every second of her. At first, I thought she was a little bit annoying, but then again, I guess that's kind of the direction that they wanted to go with the character, considering that she's only 9 years old. Towards the end of the film, as I was observing her performance, I was like, wow, like, this girl is very talented. She's definitely going places, especially in a certain monologue a little bit towards, like, the middle portion of this film. So basically, the movie follows this family, this trio of girls. They run a little organization where the mother's a medium, and they contact the dead, and they get all types of people coming in, blah, blah, blah. They're a bunch of con artists. The reason being is because they want to save this house that they're living in. The house belonged to the father, who is unfortunately deceased, and they don't want to lose it, so, they're trying their best just to keep the house. And the movie takes place in the 60s, and it really captures that tone very well as far as the wardrobe department in this film. and the setting, as far as like the cars and everything, and even the furniture. Some of the music choices in this film were very well done. It kind of gave it a bit of a creepy, atmospheric type tone to it because, I mean, back then, a lot of stuff wasn't really known. Of course, technology wasn't very well done, well put together, I should say. So you really get this feeling of skepticism just as much as the customers of this family do whenever they go to see this medium to contact the dead. At least for me, it did. The character of Lena decides to sneak out at one point and go to her friend's house. So then they start messing around with a Ouija board. The mother catches her that, she snuck out and everything, and then she actually proposed the idea of adding the Ouija board to their little act, so to speak, of contacting the dead. The mother goes out one day and she buys one, and the character of Doris, she's so adorable, by the way. She's a very tremendous actress. She's going places for sure, and I think she's actually going to be in Annabelle 2, which comes out next year. I guess I'll have to check that out. So she starts messing around with it, and then that's when all stuff just starts popping off. I'm not going to get into spoilers just yet, but overall, I mean, if you've seen the trailer, it's unfortunately a dead giveaway for the entire plot of the film. I just rewatched it again, and literally from start to finish of that trailer is exactly how the film plays out. And there are very quick snippets in the trailer that spoil major parts of the film. And it even shows the last shot of the movie in the trailer, which I don't understand. That's something that just boggles my mind as to why exactly when somebody is cutting trailers, why must they feel the need to put such spoiler elements in the trailer? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You want to build that excitement and everything like that for the viewer watching at home or in a theater. Like, oh, wow, that looks pretty good. I'm going to definitely check that out. But for the more hardcore movie viewers, they can pinpoint exactly where that would fit in a story. At least I'm speaking for myself and a couple of other of my friends who happen to be huge movie buffs like myself. Can kind of pick up on these things and say, yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea to feature in your trailer. You know what I mean? But who am I to say? So if you haven't seen this film, I highly suggest you go do so. Go watch it, come back, so you can further kind of understand my thoughts and opinions and everything on the film. So now to get into spoilers. So just like I was making mention of about the whole trailer nonsense, literally just as the trailer plays out is how the movie plays out. There's really not much to spoil here, other than just the fact that some of the stuff that, when the girl finally gets possessed by this ugly black looking thingy, homeboy looks like Zoom from The Flash. But when she finally gets possessed by him, that's when things really start happening. But I really appreciated that it was kind of a bit of a slow build. Yes, there were some stuff that happened prior to her finally becoming possessed, if you will. But it was a slow build, and I applaud them for going that route because it kind of made you care for the characters. It made you care for both sisters and the mother. And granted, there were a couple of things in the movie that were a little bit cheesy that some of the audience actually laughed about. And I couldn't help but laugh about it too, as much as I didn't want to. But for the most part, it kind of, I don't want to say it's self-aware, but it's almost a bit grounded in reality. I guess the characters are, not so much the story and everything like that, and all the going-ons and whatnot. But you do feel for these people, and I really applaud Mike Flanagan, very wise director, for doing so. And I'm so glad that, the studio didn't really get their hands, in this project of his, because I feel like it would have ultimately ruined it, and it probably would have been a same like rinse, wash, repeat type cycle thing like the first Ouija film. So moving along towards the end of the film is when stuff really starts picking up, as I made mention of. There is a scene where Lena walks in on Doris just scribbling on a piece of paper looking the other way, and Lena checks it out, and it's all just in Polish. So the girls happen to go to like a Catholic school, and she asks the principal, who's, a father, of course, a priest, if he knows anybody who happens to read Polish. So she fills her in, and later on, the priest comes by the house, and he decides, hey, like, I would like to have a reading. So Doris gives him a reading because now she became like the big cheese of the whole operation. After the reading, they head upstairs to Lena's room, the mother, the priest, and Lena herself. And he starts explaining to the mother, who, by the way, was like just stupid. She didn't realize what was going on with her daughter. It's like, all right, come on. Really? So he says to her, while I'm not mocking your daughter's abilities, I'm not saying that she's false or anything like that. She definitely does have a gift. However, I can assure you that whatever is manifesting this ability on her is bad. It's not a good spirit or anything like that. Because some of the questions that I was asking your daughter, she was giving me the answers to. However, they were the wrong answers. Take this for example. He asked her about his deceased wife, his previous wife. And he said, what was her middle name? And Doris said Lynn. However, the priest made it clear that Lynn was the middle name of his mother. So he was kind of toying around with it just to see what it would tell him and stuff like that. And I thought that was kind of clever. And then he was able to kind of explain what was happening, that there was more to it than meets the eye. Haha, Transformers. Ugh. I thought that was really cool. And then afterwards, just stuff starts hitting the fan. The boyfriend comes over. She ends up killing the boyfriend. She lures him downstairs and tells him about how she found money in the wall, and they were able to use this money to keep the house. As this kid is digging through the wall, she's doing all sorts of creepy stuff. And there were a lot of stuff that this girl was doing that was creepy. And I guess sort of the fact that since she was possessed as well, that's what even added to the scare factor as well. So she ends up killing the boyfriend, and then you find out that this hole that was in the wall where the money was also like a second room, which had all this operating stuff and everything. And in the 1800s, there was some serial killer, some Polish guy actually, who would perform all these crazy operations on people like that. So this family was practically, I guess, living in a house that had a whole history to it. It was pretty cool because, you know, you get all these different spirits watching them, and then once they start screwing around with this Ouija board, the spirits really start to manifest themselves, and then they know what's going on. So that was just an easier insight for them to you know, take over the whole family and the house and everything. The little girl, Doris, ends up, you know, knocking out the mother and her older sister and brings him into the operating room. She straps down the mother onto this table, and the sister catches wind of what she's able to do to kind of just keep the demons like out from, you know, manifesting themselves out of Doris. So earlier on in the film, Lena had gotten angry at her sister Doris because she found like her doll that their dead father had given her had its mouth sewn shut. And then in this sort of flashback sequence, Lena sees that it was her dad that sewed the mouth shut, just as Doris had claimed. So she sees that, oh wow, like that actually did happen. And the reason being was because, you know, he was trying to sew the mouth so, you know, just to keep like the demons away, if that makes any sense. So she thought back on that and she said, you know what, this is the only way. So she grabbed like, you know, a pin and like a thread and needle and started sewing her mouth shut. All the while, all the demons are kind of coming up behind her and just trying to stop her, and she's able to do it. And the mother gets herself out, and, you know, she sees her daughter's lifeless corpse on the floor, and she's, you know, tending to her and everything. And Lena's walking over and she's saying to the mother, oh, I'm sorry, I had to, that was the only way. And then when she finally plops down, and all the while it's not showing Lena completely, she plops down beside her mother, and they both turn to each other, and the demons kind of possessed Lena for a quick second, and Lena stabs her own mother. Her mother dies, and then she ends up going into a mental institution. So the doctor's trying to get all this information out from her, and she's just not having any of it. Goes back to her room, and then she ends up cutting herself and makes her own Ouija board on the floor with her own blood. and then she kind of manifests the spirit of her sister. And the last shot, as I made mention of, is in the freaking trailer, where the doctor is looking in the door, Lena's room, and then you see Doris, her sister, like, just crawling up from the ceiling, and then that's literally where the movie ends. Thankfully, I did not pay attention much to any of the advertisements, the TV spots, or any trailers since the first time I saw it months ago. So I pretty much went into this movie clean. So I didn't notice any of the spoilers or the dead giveaways or anything like that. Thank God. Because I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it. So overall, my thoughts on Ouija Origin of Evil was that it was actually pretty decent. I was surprised. I kind of wanted to hate this film, or not that I kind of wanted to, but I just really didn't think that I was going to enjoy it at all, really. So overall, I think I would probably have to give Ouija Origin of Evil a solid B-. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Tell me if you liked it, if you hated it, if you thought it was okay. Let me know what you thought of the first film. Like this video, favorite it, share with your friends, hit that subscribe button, check the description box down below. You will see the link to our gaming channel, the Red Planet Gaming. If you're into games and all that good stuff, I highly recommend you check that channel out. We just hit 300 subscribers. Woohoo! Make sure to check out my good friend Jesus over at Zeus is Zeus. He's the one who lent me this beautiful Blue Yeti microphone that I'm using. And again, if you guys enjoy the quality of this microphone, let me know. I'll do more videos with this, and I might even get my own myself. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm gonna watch a couple of more horror movies, maybe. I'm in the mood to watch Halloween, the original, John Carpenter's. Catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.